Hi, this is Mrs. Cahill with the third part of our second review. 21 says complete the two-way frequency table. So notice we're talking about if somebody is male or female, and we're talking about how much schooling did they have. Did they have a high school diploma, or take it further for a bachelor's degree, or get a master's or doctoral degree? And we've got to fill in the table. So let's start by looking at all of our high school diploma people. We've got 16 males. We don't know how many females. However, the total is 28. So how many females does there need to be for the number to add up to 28? 12. 16 plus 12 is 28. Now let's go do bachelor's degree. We get to just add those numbers. 46 plus 51 gives us a total of 97 people with bachelor's degrees. And then finally, let's do our master's and doctoral. If the total is 6 and we've got 3 female, then we also have 3 male. Okay, we can get our last couple of numbers. We need to know the total number of females surveyed. So 12 plus 51 plus 3 gives us 66. And when we go to get this last number, we're getting the grand total. 65 plus 66 is 131, and we can double check. 28 plus 97 plus 6 is also 131. Number 2, we're going to choose 3 sides that can form a right triangle. Hopefully you remember that a right triangle has a right angle, and I can call my legs A and B, and I would call my hypotenuse C. The formula is that if we take A squared plus B squared, it will equal C squared, and it lets us find a missing side. So now I've got all these side lengths, and I've got to find out which ones will work in the formula. Notice we're going to square all of our sides. In fact, let's just go ahead and try. 4 squared plus 5 squared, does that equal 8 squared? Let's just plug those in and see what we get. 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, and 8 squared is 64. And those don't add up. 41 does not equal 64, so we don't have it. But notice we're going to be needing to square all of our numbers. So I took all of our side lengths and I squared them. 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, 8 is 64, 9 squared is 81, 11 squared is 121, and so on. Now I've got the numbers I want to make add up. And you've got to fiddle around and find the ones that work. And it turns out that 25 plus 144 equals 169. So what does that mean? That means that 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. Prove it. 5 squared is 25, 12 squared is 144, and 13 squared is 169, and they add up. So the answer to the question, though, is which sides? 5, 12, and 13. All right, number 23. What's true about the relationship between x and y in the scatter plot? And they gave us that this is x and this is y. So what's happening? As x gets higher and higher, our graph is going down. Which one says that? As x decreases, here we go, y decreases. No, that's not the case. X is increasing. As x increases, y increases. No, that would be going up. We don't have that. As x increases, y decreases. Choice C. Number 24. A boat rental shop charges a $10 fee plus $15 per hour that a kayak is rented. Select all that apply that are true. So notice we're talking about rate of change. Isn't that just slope? And we're talking about initial value. Isn't that just our y-intercept? So let's go ahead and write the equation of this line. We've got a $10 fee plus $15 per hour. We only paid that $10 fee one time, but that $15 gets charged every hour. So when we go to plug in our slope, it's the 15, and the y-intercept is 10. That's going to make it a lot easier to answer our question. So let's go see. Our rate of change, is it 15? Yeah, our slope is 15. So therefore, the rate of change is not 10. The initial value is 15? No, our initial value is 10. The cost of 3 hours of use is $55. To find that out, that 3 is an x value. Let's go plug that in for x. So 15 times 3 is 45, plus 10 is 55. Turns out that one's true. So on the last one, I'm not going to bother to do the math because I already know that when I plug in 3, I get 55. Number 25, given 4x minus 4 plus 2x equals 10x plus w minus 5x, for what value of w does x equal 6? You could look at this question and just be overwhelmed by that big long equation and 2 letters and the wording. But did you notice they're telling us x equals 6? That means wherever I see x, I should go substitute in 6. So that's exactly what I did. It's the same equation, but instead we're multiplying by 6. So now let's just simplify. 4 times 6 is 24. We bring down our minus 4. 2 times 6 is 12. 10 times 6 is 60. Bring down the w. And minus 5 times 6 is minus 30. And now we can add up our like terms. Notice these things are on the same side. So I do the math I see. 24 minus 4 is 20 plus 12 is 32. And on the other side, 60 minus 30 is 30. I have w almost alone. To get rid of that plus 30, I would subtract 30 to both sides, and we find that w is 2. And that's the answer to the question. 26, select all the points that lie on the line AB. So here's our line AB, and I want to find out which points do. The first couple are kind of easy to find out if they work or they don't work. We've got the point 1, 1. If I plot it, I see, oh yeah, it's on the line. 3, 4, if I go over 3 and up 4, I see it doesn't lie on the line. So this one's a yes, this one's a no. To do the others, they're not going to quite fit on the graph. So you've got 2 options. You could go ahead on your graph paper and recreate this line. You'll just have to put the points where you really see them. Do you agree we have a 0, 0, and we have a 3, 3? And you could just create that line to see which points actually work, because on the FSA, you're going to be given graph paper. I'm going to graph this line the best that I can and then try to extend it. That's my best bet. Okay, so now I could go see which ones are on the line. How about 2, negative 2? 2, negative 2? No, clearly that's not on the line. Negative 3, positive 3? No, not on the line. How about negative 5, negative 5? Oh yeah, it's on the line. But did you notice something else? 1 equals 1, negative 5 equals negative 5. So I'm going to show you another method to graph this line. Remember, lines come in the form of y equals mx plus b. So we could go get our slope. It appears that when I rise 3, I run 3. So isn't my slope 3 over 3? But that just reduces down to 1. And our b, do you see the y-intercept right there? It's 0. So plugging that in, we get y equals 1x plus 0. But let's clean that up. I don't have to write the plus 0. And I get the equation y equals x, which is the same as x equals y. Now looking back again at our choices, 1 equals 1, negative 5 equals negative 5. Couldn't we come up with more answers on our own? 7.5 and 7.5. Lots of answers. All right, number 27. The volume of a cube is 64 cubic inches. What's the value of x? Well, remember, it's a cube, so I don't have to use length times width times height for the volume. I've got another formula. Volume equals side raised to the third power, side cubed. So let's plug in what we know. They told us the volume is 64, and it looks like our side lengths are x. So volume equals x cubed. I don't want x cubed, I want x alone. So the opposite of cubing is cube rooting. I must cube root both sides. And the cube root of 64, that's a number times itself 3 times. Turns out that's 4. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So our side length is 4 inches. You could plug it into the picture. Length times width times height. 4 times 4 times 4. Back to 64. The next question is identical, except now our volume is 27. So please definitely pause the video this time and do this one on your own before I reveal the answer. Hopefully you recall that the formula is volume equals side squared. They've given us a volume of 27. Our side is x. So we've got x cubed. To get x alone, I need to cube root both sides. And hopefully you remember that the cube root of 27 is 3. So our side is 3. In this case, it's millimeters. All right, 29 and 30, and then we're done. How many feet are traveled per minute? So when I look at feet per minute, I know I'm talking about slope. It's a rate. So I need to go get slope. From here to here, I'm hitting crosshairs. I rise 3. I run 1. So it's 3 over 1. I rose 3 what? I rose 3 feet, and I ran 1 minute. So we have 3 feet per minute. All right, the next one. How much money is saved per month? Once again, we're talking about a slope, m. So let's go calculate our slope. We're going to do rise over run, and I need to look for crosshairs. I have one here, and I don't get another one until here. So I am rising 160, and I am running 5. So that's 160 over 5, and when you do the division, you get 32. Where did I get the dollars per month? Well, dollars came from right here, and we are counting months. Okay, good luck on your FSA. Keep working.